everyone and welcome to e-sipnayan. For today's video, we're going to be discussing problem solving involving fractions, decimal, and percent. But before anything else, please don't forget to like and subscribe to e-sipnayan so that you will be updated with our new videos. Hopefully in this lesson, you will be able to solve problems involving decimals, fractions, and percent with the real-life situations. So to start, we have problems involving fractions. For our first example, Miss Carpio's class has 22 girls and 14 boys. What is the fraction of girls in her class? So we are given with 22, which is the number of girls, and 14 as the number of boys. So this is not in the statement given, but if we add the total number of girls and boys in the class, we will have a total number of students of 36. Now, if we are to get the fraction of girls in the class, all we have to do is to get the number of girls and then divide it by the total number of students. Now, 22 over 36, which is 11 over 18. Now, we can say that the fraction of girls in Miss Carpio's class is 11 over 18. So what we can get from this example is that getting a fraction of something, all you have to do is to obtain the specific number of variables over the total number of variables. For our second example, how many hours did Dave use his phone if he spent 11 over 2 hours on Twitter and 14 over 3 hours on YouTube? Now, our given is 11 over 2 is the hours on Twitter and 14 over 3 hours on YouTube. Now, to get the number or the total hours that Dave used his phone, the operation included in this problem is of course addition. All we have to do is to add 11 over 2 plus 14 over 3. Now, you can use your calculators, or by manually computing this, all you have to do is to get its LCD. So getting the LCD, we have 6. And then following the rules of LCD, where we divide it with the denominator and then multiplying it with the numerator, we have 6 divided by 2 times 11, which is 33. By the way, our denominator is 6, which is the LCD. And then we just copy the operation addition. Then 6 divided by 3, which is 2, times 14, we have 28. Now, simplifying this equation, we have 61 over 6. So, in conclusion, Dave spent 61 over 6 hours using his phone. For our third example, Mr. Casper is 160 centimeters tall and his brother Tom is 7 over 8 as tall as him. How tall is Tom? Now, with the given, we know that Mr. Casper's height is 160 cm. But Tom is 7 over 8 of Mr. Casper's height. Now, knowing Mr. Casper's height is 160 cm, all we have to do is to get the fraction of 7 over 8 from 160 cm. So, in doing so, we will use the operation of multiplication. Now, multiplying 160 times 7 over 8, we can use a calculator again, or we can simply divide this first. We know that 160 is a multiple of 8. So we have 160 divided by 8, we have here 20, and we have here 1. So 7 times 20, we have 140. Now, in conclusion, Tom's height is 140 cm. So what we can take from this example is that getting a fraction from a whole number, all you have to do is to multiply or use the operation of multiplication. Example number 4. Andy painted at his house. He used 1/4 of his paint to paint 5 walls. What fraction of his paint did Andy use on each wall if he used the same amount of paint on each? Now, take note, he used only 1/4 of the paint to paint 5 walls. Now, we have to know what fraction of paint is used from each of the walls. So, the operation that we are going to use is, of course, division. So we divide 1/4 by 5. So in dividing this, we can get the reciprocal of 5 and then change this operation into multiplication. In doing so, we have 1/4 times 1/5, and then in simplifying this, we have 1/20. So in conclusion, we can say that Andy used 1/20 of the paint for each wall. Okay, for example number 5, given the following fractions of 2/5, 3/4, 9/10, and 33/40, we want to know which is the largest. Now, it is difficult to compare the fractions because they have different denominators. So it would be easier for us to compare if they have the same denominator. Now, the first step is to figure out what is the LCD, or what's the least common denominator of the following fractions. As you can see, we have 5, we have 4, 10, and 40. Now, it would be easier to figure out that the denominator, or the least common denominator here, is 40. So, converting 2/5 into a denominator with 40, all we have to do is to get the quotient of 40 with the following numbers, then multiply the quotient with both the numerator and the denominator. Now, 40 divided by 5 is 8. Now, we multiply 8 with both the numerator and the denominator. Now, we know that the equivalent fraction of 2/5 is 16/40. Now, 40 divided by 4 is 10. So, we multiply 10 with both the numerator and the denominator. Therefore, we have 30/40. Now, dividing 40 with 10, we know that the quotient is 4. So, we multiply the numerator and the denominator with both 4. Therefore, we have 36/40. So as you can see, it's now easier to compare which one is the largest. And we can say that the largest is 36/40 or 9/10. For our sixth and last example for problems regarding fractions, we have Vince's mom gave him an allowance for the week. Now he plans to spend 1/6 of his money to buy food. He also plans to use 1/4 of his money to buy gifts for his friends and teachers, 1/3 to give to church, and the rest, which amounted to 800, to charity. How much is his allowance? As you can see in the given, almost all of the numerical values are in fractions except for one. Only the money given to charity is the only one with monetary value, while the rest are fractions. Now, how are we going to solve this problem if we want to know how much is his total allowance? Now, we let x be a fraction equivalent to 800. Now, y would be the total allowance. Now, to solve this, we know that if all of the fractions are added, we know that it would be equal to 1. Therefore, we add 1/6 plus 1/4 plus 1/3. Now, our x here is supposed to be the fraction equivalent of 800. Now, we don't know that yet, but we can solve the variable x in this problem. Now, adding this and then transposing it to the other side, we can isolate x. So now we have x is equal to 1 minus the quantity of 1/6 plus 1/4 plus 1/3. Now, we can simplify this part of the equation where we have x is equal to 1/4. Now, since we know that x is equal to 1/4, which is the fraction equivalent of 800, we can get the total allowance. Now, how do I derive this equation? We know that if we want to get a fraction of a whole, we need to multiply. Now, we know that 1/4 of the total allowance is 800. We can easily solve for y by dividing both sides by 1/4. Now, dividing both sides with 1/4, we can easily cancel this. Then we have y is equal to 800 over 1/4. To divide this, we can get this equation, y is equal to 800. And then, getting the reciprocal of 1/4, and then changing the operation into multiplication. So we have 4 times 800, which is the total allowance of Vince. So next, we're going to be talking about problems involving decimals. Now for example number 7, Zeus got a summer job in a milk tea shop. His first customer ordered for a winter melon milk tea that cost 124.99 pesos. If the customer gave 150 pesos, how much change should he give? Now, our given in this situation is that the winter melon milk tea costs 124.99 pesos and he gave a bill of 150 pesos. Now, to know how much change he gave, the operation included in this problem is of course subtraction. So, subtracting 150 and 124.99, so computing this manually, we have 150.00 subtracting 124.99. In subtracting decimals, it is important that the decimal points are aligned. So subtracting this, we have 1, and then we have 0, don't forget the decimal point, and then we have 5, then we have 2. So our total change that we should give is 25.01 pesos. Now for the next problem, Teresa went to shop materials for her scrapbook. She got the scrapbook for 220.25 pesos, a ballpoint pen at 16.75 pesos, and scrapbook decors at 90.50 pesos. How much did she pay for the materials? So with the given, we have this one. So if you want to know the total amount of her materials, all we need to do is to use the operation of addition. We add this up. So if you want to solve this manually, just like subtraction, it is very important that the decimal point is aligned. 16.75 and then we have 90.50. So aligning this, we add all of the numbers in all columns. So we have 10, we carry 1, and then we have 15, we carry 1. Copy the decimal point, we have 7, and then 9, 10, 11, 12. So our total is 327.50. So in conclusion, Teresa should pay 327.50 pesos. Now, Audrey took a walk around San Beda twice. It took 12.4 minutes to walk the first round. In the second round, she took 3.2 fewer minutes than she did the first round. How long did Audrey take to complete her walk altogether? So the only given in this situation is the first round of walk that she took, which is 12.4 minutes. Now, if you want to know the minutes that she took during the second round, we have to subtract the 3.2 minutes from the first walk. So in subtracting this, we have 12.4 minus 3.2. So we have 9.2. So if you want to know how long Audrey took her to complete her walk altogether, all we have to do is to add the first and the second walk. So as you can notice, we have 12.4, which is the first walk, and this one is the second walk, which we know that is 9.2. Now if we add 9.2, and 12.4, we will get 6, and then of course copy the decimal point, and then we have 11 and 21. So 21.6. It took her 21.6 minutes to complete her walk. April needs 18 teaspoons of butter to bake a cake. She has a stick of butter, which is equivalent to 4.5 teaspoons left from her previous recipe. Now, if a stick of butter costs 36 pesos, how much does she need to buy the remaining butter? So, it is important to know how much stick of butter that she needs. Now, if she already has a stick of butter, which is 4.5 teaspoons, we need to know how much butter she needs. So, we subtract 18 by 4.5, which is 13.5. So 13.5 teaspoons is the amount of butter that she needs. So now we know the number of teaspoons that she needs. We convert the number of teaspoons by how many stick of butter it is by dividing 13.5 by 4.5. Now dividing 13.5 by 4.5. So this is 4.5 and then this is 13.5. Now, of course, we cannot proceed division without moving the decimal point of 4.5 first. So if we move this once, we also have to move this once to the right. So therefore, we have 45 divided by 135. So dividing this, we have 3. So this is 135. So this means that this means that 13.5 teaspoons are equivalent to 3 sticks of butter. Since she knows that she needs 3 sticks of butter and each stick of butter costs 36 pesos, she needs 3 times 36 pesos, which is 108. So in conclusion, April needs 108 pesos to buy the needed butter. Okay, lastly, Michael and his 4 friends are architecture students. Their team won the architectural design contest for the housing units for Yolanda victims. Each person on the team received 55,025.75 pesos. How much money did the team won altogether? Now, the only given here is the amount of money each person received. Now, if you want to know the total amount, and we know that there are 5 members in the group, we just simply multiply 55,025.75 pesos. So we write 55,025.75 pesos, and then we write 5 here. In multiplication, it doesn't really matter if the decimal points are aligned, although you can, but we're going to apply the number of decimal places that we have here and apply it with the product that we will have later on. So we simply multiply this. So we have 25, we carry the 2, and then 35 plus 2 is 37, we carry the 3, 15 plus 3 is 18, we carry the 1, 10 plus 1 is 1, 10 plus 1 is 11, but we carry the 1, and then 0 times 5 is 1 plus 1, and then 25, we carry the 2, and then we have 27 here. So the final answer is 275,128.75 pesos, which is the money received by the team altogether. And now lastly, we're going to be talking about problems involving percent. So for our first example, in this case, the service charge in a bistro is 10% of the bill. The total bill is 785.25 pesos. What is the total amount to be paid? Now, if we are to determine the total amount to be paid, we first need to solve how much is the service charge. So we need to get the 10% of the total bill. We can get the 10% of the total bill by multiplying the 10% to the 785.25. So multiplying this, we have 785.25 times 0.10. Multiplying this, we have 0, 0, 0, 0, and 0. And then we multiply this one by 1. We have 5, 2, 5, 8, and 7. Now, of course, we have to add this. We have 0, 5, 2, 5, 8, and 7. Now, since we have 4 decimal places, we move the decimal place from the right to the left 4 times. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then it means the service charge of the bistro is 78.525. Now this amount will be added to the total bill. Now the total bill is 785.25. Now adding the service charge is of course the sum of the two numbers. So we have here 785.25 and then adding it with 78.525, making sure that the decimal point is aligned. course, we can add also 0 here. So we have 577.13, 16, and 8. So the total amount to be paid is 863.78 pesos. For the next example, of the 500 runners who attended the fun run, 120 finished the 5-kilometer run. What percent finished the run? So if we are to get the percent of those who finished the run, all we have to do is to get first the fraction of those who finished from the total number of runners. Now, 120 divided by 500 is 0.24. So now to get the percent equivalent of 0.24, all we have to do is to move the decimal point twice to the right or multiply it by 100. So we can say that 24% finished the 5-kilometer run. For the next one, a mocha latte sells at a regular price of 180 pesos. Because the coffee shop has an anniversary treat today, they sell the latte for only 80 pesos. Find the percent decrease in the price. Now, the formula in getting a percent decrease is simply old price minus new price over old price, and then to get the percent, we multiply it by 100. Now, the given here is that the regular price or the old price is 180 pesos. As for the new price or the discounted price, we have 80 pesos. So, old price is 180, the new price is 80 pesos. Now, substituting the given, we have 180 minus 80 over 180 multiplied by 100. So we can say that the percent decrease in the mocha latte is 55.55%. Now, what if we are to get the percent increase? Okay, in this problem, in a certain barangay, the 2010 population is 200. But then in 2014, the population increased to 350. Now, to find the percent increase in the population, we consider this formula of getting the percent increase. So, new population minus the old population over the old population, and then we multiply it by 100. So, we substitute the new population, which is 350, while the old population is 200. Now, substituting this, we have 350 minus 200 over 200 times 100. Now, simplifying this, we have 75%, which means that the percent increase is 75%. So that ends our discussion for today. I hope that you learned a lot, and you may utilize the comment section below if you have any more questions. Thank you for watching, and I hope you stay tuned for our next video. Thank you!